Hello everyone, Kent Bressler here. I want to welcome you to Kent's Kidney Stories. During our time together over these podcasts, I'd like to discuss kidney disease. I'd like to tell you about my journey as a transplant patient, but also talk about dialysis, kidney donation, and just about anything else that might be of interest. Kent's Kidney Stories, podcast endorsed and sponsored by kidneysolutions.org. Hello, everyone. This is Kent Bressler, and yes, we're going to do a podcast today. And I'm hoping that all of you who are listening can take into account that my guest has a really terrific name, and I'm probably going to mess it up. But anyway, let's pray. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Dear Lord, we lift up all those who are facing illness today. We ask that you would bring healing comfort and peace to their bodies, calm their fears, and let them experience the healing power of your love. We also ask that you send a donor forth for Marana, and we ask this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Have you taken the time to review our website? I'm asking you in a general question, all my people out there, have you gone into kidneysolutions.org? Have you pulled up all of the folks that are looking for living donors in this world today? I think it would be a great idea for you to do that, because this is a wealth of information on this website that's been put together by some very great people. And what they want to do is not only do these podcasts off of that website, but also it has a list of people that are waiting for kidney donation. And we also have support groups and everything else that comes with the kidney journey. So just go on to kidneysolutions.org and do your thing and do it for the kidney folks. All right. Today, our guest on Kent's Kidney Stories is Marana Vradenburg.
Yes. Good job.
What do you think of that?
You do fantastic.
Marana was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when she was a mere 9 years old. And then 15 years ago, this dread disease, diabetes, took her eyesight. And now she's living with only 13% of her kidney function. And she, like so many others, are in need of a transplant. She's an athletic trainer, and she's well-versed in Brazilian JiuJitsu, and is an active personal trainer and a nutrition coach to boot. She loves staying active. She loves volunteering with injured and disabled veterans. Thank you very much. However, this low energy level that drives along with this kidney disease, along with her fatigue, has severely compromised her ability to do what she wants to do. Marana has been blessed with a big family of nieces and nephews who she adores. And imagine this, she wants to be able to spend more time with them and quality time. She can't do that, folks, without a donor. She needs a donor to step up, and that's what we're going to concentrate on talking about today, is a kidney donor for Marana. Welcome, my dear.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
I'll tell you, sometimes it gets to me. We started off my day yesterday with the death. And I just want to say that, because I want those who are listening to understand that this is a horrible disease, right? It's not been asked for. It's not something that you just go out and get. It's something that it's lethal. And there are ways of dealing with it, but we can't do that without the support of the community as a whole. Do you believe that?
Yes, absolutely.
Tell me, Rana, how in the world do you cope with your current condition. Tell us a little bit about where you're at on your kidney journey.
Well, I unfortunately did have to. My goal in all this was to be able to avoid dialysis altogether. I was hoping to be able to find a donor prior to be putting on dialysis, just because dialysis, while it's a great method, a great way, I mean, without it, we would all die, right?
Mm-hmm.
It keeps us alive, but it also has some detrimental effects for our health. And in this, I'm thinking about my long-term health. What do I want my future to look like? And I certainly don't want to be faced with cardiac disease and a lot of the other things, the complications that something like dialysis can cause. While I'm thankful for it, on the other hand, I also know that it's something that I don't want to be on long term. So right now, a couple of weeks ago, I ended up in the emergency room, and my blood pressure was sky high, and my lips were feeling tingly, my arm was numb, just feeling like completely weak. I was at a point where I could hardly raise my arms above my head to wash my hair, and where walking was difficult. And so we went to the emergency room, not really knowing what it was, and found out that my GFR had actually dropped to 9, and my potassium was way up. And they said your kidneys aren't doing well at all. And they actually wanted to admit me, but they called my kidney doctor, and he said, no, don't admit her, tell her to come to my office tomorrow. And so I showed up at his office the next day, and he said, Marana, it's time to start dialysis. And I didn't want to. I mean, but I knew that it was what I needed to do. And so went in, had the operation to have the port put in, you know how that goes. And then started going to hemodialysis treatments in center 3 times a week for 4 hours, sitting there and waiting. And I try to make the best of it. I take my weights with me, and I sit there and use my ankle weights, just try to keep moving and stuff, trying to keep muscle from deteriorating as much as possible, and just trying to optimize my health as much as possible and go through this. But also at the same time, looking forward to the time when I have a transplant where I can actually feel like I'm benefiting from all the healthy choices that I'm making to treat my body well and to become strong and to, good food choices and all that kind of stuff. But I really just want to feel better. But today, now as it is basically just day to day. I don't know what my energy levels are going to be from day to day, even really from moment to moment. Wake up in the morning and feel pretty good, but then in the afternoon, you feel a little bit run down, tired, fatigued, whatever. It's just kind of really moment by moment, not knowing how your energy levels are going to be, not knowing how you're going to feel. It's doing my best to optimize my health in every way, whether that's through nutrition or training or whatever I do. Trying to support myself with a good support system, my family and friends that are praying and that are optimistic about my journey and me finding a kidney, and a family that is willing to take me to doctor's appointments that are necessary. I did just list at a couple of other transplant centers here in California. Fortunately, here in California, I forgot what they said the number of transplant centers were here.
Multiple.
But multiple. Yeah, there's so many. So I'm actually listed at UCLA, and they just referred me to UCSF as well, and also UC San Diego.
Okay,
So
the second one was what?
UCSF, University of San Francisco.
Okay, so we got UCLA, University of San Francisco,
University of San Francisco, and then University of San Diego.
Okay.
So what that means is if I find a live donor, if I find somebody that says, hey, I want to give you a kidney, and they come out, we go, I will choose to have that surgery done at UCLA. That would be my choice.
Okay.
But I'm going to be listed because, with UNOS and how they disperse the organs and stuff that are available, I will be listed at UCLA, at UC San Diego, and UCSF if they have a deceased donor that comes in, and I'm going to go the deceased donor route if it comes to that, and I'm going to opt to do the kidney pancreas transplant. So that is my plan. If I have to go the deceased donor route, that I will take whatever comes up at any of those 3 hospitals. But if I have to do if I'm able to do the live donor route, then I will go through UCLA and have them perform the surgery, and we'll go from there.
And so now you've let everybody know that you're also possibly going to have a pancreas transplant, which
Yes.
will free you up from diabetes.
Yes.
The point being that you can do this, but the transplant for the pancreas is only through deceased donor. So you can, and that's exactly what you're going to do, is not turn down anything. But
Right.
you're hopefully going to do the kidney transplant, and then as the pancreas comes along, you'll go back in and have the pancreas transplant. Is that a
Yes.
correct? That's right. Okay.
I think once I receive the kidney, if I go the live donor route and I receive the kidney, from there I will just kind of see what my blood sugars do, how my health is feeling.
Exactly. That's a great
and
point. That's a great point. That's a
yeah,
great point. You have to. This kind of thing is not willy-nilly. I mean, this is major undertaking. And so the two options for you is someone coming off in the deceased donor list on the pancreas side, you get a pancreas and a kidney at the same time. But in lieu of that, if you have a donor walk into your life tomorrow afternoon, you go right on to UCLA and do the transplant for the kidney. So I wanted to make sure everybody understands this, that we're looking in this particular case for a living donor, someone who will step up and become a donor for Marana. So you cannot, this is a very major issue. And all the information you would need if you're considering donation, give us a call at Kidney Solutions. All right. And the number is 830-285-2140. And I'll repeat that at the end. But I just need to get that in so people hear this, then they can say, okay, how do I do that? I want to do that. Well, that's how you do it. You get a hold of us and we'll work with you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it really has been just such a humbling experience. It really has. It's been the thing that's probably struck me most, just the amazing support of my family. I'm a person that has a wonderfully, wonderfully supportive family. We are all believers and they are always praying for me. They are just, I don't know what I would do without them. And I'm very fortunate in that regard. Unfortunately, they have some health issues themselves.
None of them can donate.
Yeah, none of them can donate right now.
And that's significant. That's totally significant.
It really is.
And so we're looking for someone that's would step up, be willing to do a paired exchange if needed, whatever it takes.
Yeah. So, anyway, but like I was saying, it's just been a very humbling experience to have people perfect strangers that I don't even know, to even think of somebody stepping up and saying, "Hey, I'm willing to go through this for you. I want to do this for you." Just that amount of generosity and stuff, it just it's such an amazing experience in and of itself. I mean, how do you repay somebody for being willing? You can't. You can't.
No, you don't even think about doing that. What you do about thinking about taking care of yourself and making sure that you honor that person by taking care of their kidney, because it's not your kidney.
No, yeah, exactly. If it were me and I were to step in and say, you know what, I really want this person to benefit from being able to have a long, full life, and I will do whatever I can do to share that with them, to give that to them. I think the best way that I could repay somebody is just to be my best and to live my best life, to take care of myself and to thrive and to go out and do all the things that I want to do and to be able to share with others and to be able to be that light. You know what I mean? That's what people have commented to me. People, perfect strangers I met, getting into an Uber with an Uber driver that I've never met. And he said, "There's something about you. You radiate light. You radiate light." Yeah. And I didn't know what he was talking about. And I think, you know what? That's not me. That's Christ in me.
Yeah.
That's it. Christ is the light of the world. And that's what he's seeing in me, And so it's just being able to share that with people and being able to give that. I mean, that's what I want to do. That's who I want to be. This isn't about, I want to be able to go and live my life carelessly. I mean, I've been diabetic for 34 years. That's all I know. So if I were blessed with a kidney transplant, my life would be to take what I know and to live it to the best of my ability, to still follow that disciplined lifestyle with a good diet and good nutrition, good exercise and all that kind of stuff. But I just want to feel better, and also we feel better. But also diabetes wreaks havoc on the body. It's just not just the kidneys. It took my sight. It's killed my kidneys. It causes amputations. It causes heart disease. It causes so many problems. And at this point, I feel like I've had enough of complications, and I
Absolutely.
do whatever I can do to stop those. And so,
Absolutely.
that's my main goal, is to seize whatever complications could come my way, and to just be able to live as much of a healthy life as possible.
Living a life is important to not only to you, but the people around you, buddy.
Yes.
You're a valued person. You're a valued individual, but more so, I think what you do is, we know that once you've been transplanted, you're going to take care of it. I get
Yeah.
really, really, it's hard for me to understand how, like, getting a kidney from someone, that you wouldn't think that that was the most important thing the rest of your life, is that you take care, whatever it takes to take care of the kidney and yourself. That's what you do. You don't do anything else. I mean, if you don't do that, you've made a very bad choice in even wanting to do that. So
Hmm.
hopefully with the experience you get with the people that are surrounding you, you'll do fine with a kidney. I know that. I know you well enough to know that your main emphasis in life will be to give back, but to take care of that kidney.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
you hear people say, "Oh, gee whiz, I named my kidney and I did this and that." That's not your kidney. That kidney is the donor's kidney,
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
and you are obligated. It is your responsibility, just like it was with me and my brother, that you take care of it. And some people, unfortunately, have conditions where they can't, because the disease process overtakes the transplanted kidney.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's not the case most of the time, but when it happens, it can cause some really severe and profound mental problems, not medical problems, mental problems. So I think you're in the right lane, buddy. I really feel that. And I'm asking people out there to pay attention to the thought that God talks to you every day. He says things to you a donor. He's calling you. And if you're listening, you can call in and we can find a donor here. And that's what we want to do.
That would
So
be fantastic.
let me ask you this big question. Have you had anybody has anybody stepped up and actually said, "Listen, I want to test for you"?
I spoke with my transplant coordinator just yesterday. One of my biggest aggravations in this is here in California. I don't understand why, but I have a real hard time getting my doctors to all communicate with each other. So I was
Uh,
calling the transplant coordinator saying, I want you to make sure you are sending these records, all of my test results, to my nephrologist and my primary care physician and my endocrinologist. I want everybody to be
sure,
on one
sure.
page and communicating, because I feel like we all need to be putting our heads together to come up with the best treatment plan for me possible. And I can't do that on my own. I need the help of these professionals, but for some reason, getting them to communicate is just really a pain. But anyway, so I spoke with her yesterday, and she told me that there was one person that was going through match testing, but they withdrew from the process.
Okay.
And there were several others that had called in to inquire, but none of them have followed through with any of the testing that needs to be done, because it is quite a procedure. They put you through pretty intense testing and stuff, making sure that you are healthy enough, not just for that kidney to be healthy, but to make sure that you're not putting yourself in a position where you're compromising your own health. They want to make sure that your blood pressure is good. There's no heart disease. There's nothing that's going to be like, oh, hey, this person's going to need this kidney later on in his life. So, they want to make sure that you're in optimal health too. So
Absolutely.
there
Absolutely.
have been the people that have inquired, but none followed up. So the one person that was going through testing withdrew, and then other people have inquired, but they've not followed up with any match testing. So
That's why we encourage people to call me, to call Kidney Solutions, because we can follow them. We have a donor coordinator. Shannon Mulroy is our donor coordinator. She's an altruistic donor. She's given her kidney, and as well as her husband has given a kidney so somebody else can live, just because their daughter was transplanted and they couldn't give to her. So my point here is, once that person calls, that donor calls, they have to come in contact with someone that's experienced this. Okay. I think there's a much better opportunity for a positive outcome if they are able to say, hey, I didn't realize you'd given. Yeah, I've gotten one, and Shannon has given one. All right. So that person can answer all the questions that donor may have, and they're going to have a bunch of them, because the first time out of the box, the first thing they say is, how long before I can go back to work? Or is it going to jeopardize my health? They have a multitude of questions. And sometimes the transplant programs are very, very busy. And you know what? It's good to have a mentor in the fold. That's why we do it the way we do it. And we keep them confidential, just like everybody else. But that opportunity, you don't get a second opportunity with an individual most of the time. No. Especially if you tell them, oh, here's a telephone number to call, or here's what you do online. You ought to be able to say to them, listen, if you go online and fill this paperwork out, as soon as you're done, let me know. If you have any problems, you call me and let me know if you're having difficulties. All right. That way you know they're getting a hold of somebody that's in the program that's got skin in the game. So yeah, that's what we do. And that's what we're going to do for you. And that's what we do for all of our patients.
Well, my transplant coordinator told me directly too yesterday that a lot of times when people who are not related, just some good Samaritan that says, hey, I want to give this girl a chance. And so they call in and they inquire about kidney donation. She said that most times, apart from a family member, somebody that has a close vested interest in that person, they usually will fall by the wayside. And it kind of sounds to me like they kind of try, not necessarily to discourage it, but they do let them know, hey, this is a lot of testing. If you don't have a strong medical history, we're going to need to put you through this and this, as far as like insurance costs and stuff like that. So it kind of felt to me like they almost discourage it, while not outright discouraging it. They kind of maybe make it sound more grim than what it is.
I think you're totally right. All right. Yeah. And that's not a knock on them. We work closely with transplant programs.
Right.
The key here is the fact that you get them to at least sign up and register. Okay. At least go in on the website, if it's a Breeze website or whatever it is, and do that. Let the transplant team then see if they even qualify. But why go all through that stuff about how much it's going to cost or how much it's going to, this and that and the other? How about just letting them register, get all the information? Then if they are quality in their, they have potential, then you go on to the next phase.
Right.
Giving them all that information up front without them asking, I think is kind of is troublesome.
Overwhelming. Right?
Yeah.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
I mean,
and you don't have to, all you have to do is go online and fill this out. Very simple. Name and your birth date. And that way we know that person's going to go to you. Okay. All right. Okay. And we don't need to belabor this, because any way we can get you transplanted with that the transplant that you're going to get is going to be a healthy transplant.
Yes.
Because they're not going to jeopardize a person's health. Not at all. They won't. No. They won't jeopardize your health, but they sure aren't going to put somebody incapacitate someone by taking their kidney out. It's the
one thing they want is need to have another kidney to put in that person that they just took one out of, so
that's right.
Like, oh shoot, so that would be silly, but no, make sure they're in great health.
They have to be. And that's why it's so difficult, because I've known people who would have 30 or 40 people that will sign 30 or 40. I know of 35 people that have actually, progressed through on one individual, and none of them made it. Okay. And it was, what it is? Mostly health reasons. There are people that find out when they donate There are people that find out when they donate things that they don't realize about themselves, like a cancer,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
diabetes. So, I mean, it's an eye opener.
Mhm.
That being said, I want to go back to you now. This is about you.
Mhm.
That donor out there is being sent to you.
Mhm.
You know that. You've told me that before. You're not
Mhm.
going to find them. We won't find them. We'll ask them to come forward, but God sends them. All right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's a degree of patience that one needs here. And this is not a patient thing. I'm talking about the patience of waiting. All right.
Mhm.
The
Mhm.
patience of realizing that if that donor comes, there might be so many more things that keep them from donating than from donating. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
Lots of things. So our
Mhm.
saying is until the stretcher hits the door at the OR, you don't get up too high and you don't get too low. Stay in your
Right.
lane and just know that you constantly telling people about it, that you
Mhm.
know what you need.
Mhm. In the meantime, I'm just trying to, I really just been praying for wisdom. There's a lot to navigate here as far as even just the day to day. Do I do
Mm-hmm.
hemodialysis? Do I switch
Mm-hmm.
over to peritoneal dialysis? What
Mm-hmm.
does that look like? How do I manage my diabetes in the meantime? Am I communicating with my doctors? Have these test results come back yet? What are we looking at? There's just a lot of these like micro decisions that I need to make just even from day to day about what I'm going to do with my health to optimize my long-term health quality
Yep.
right now. What do I do now to make sure I'm living until I'm 75, 80 years old and living a good quality life? Because the last thing I want to do right now is to do this and not be keeping tabs, think I'm good to go and stop keeping tabs and then end up just suffering later on. I
Yep.
want to make sure
Yep.
that I'm
Yep.
living my best life until I'm into my later years.
You know
So
as well as I do that you can't predict a thing, but what you
no,
can do is take care of it today, right? You dream of the future.
yes.
You don't look
Yeah.
back. You take care of what's going on today, and don't anticipate that everything is going to be peachy cream. You deal with it when it comes. You handle it.
Mhm.
You don't anticipate it,
No.
and I think that's a good way to live with kidney disease. And I
Yeah.
think you do too.
Yeah, I think so too. And thinking that, there's, like I said, all these other decisions that need to be made. And I think the best thing that we can do is educate ourselves to know, okay, how does this work and what does this look like? And surrounding ourselves with people like you who have been through it and kidney solutions and, the kidney journeys and all those people that we can ask questions, people that have been there before that know, that's one of the best things that we can do because stepping into this, like coming into this,
It's
first
a
off,
nightmare.
I knew nothing. It's so overwhelming to get in
Mm-hmm.
there and to realize, well, wait a minute, there's these different dialysis choices and they all have pros and cons, and which one is the best one. And you take in the consideration, the fact that I'm diabetic, and that adds a whole other kink in the, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah. Know
it's,
exactly what you mean. Yeah.
yeah, it's all of it just has to be very individualized. It has to be very customized to what is going to work best for you. And so that's been quite a journey, but thankfully I am learning a lot and I am having to practice a lot of patience. And at times I just try not to think about it and let it overwhelm me. It's like eating an elephant. You do it one bite at a time,
Get the
if you
tail
try.
first.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Do one bite at a time. If you eat the whole thing, you're going to choke.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
um,
there's a lot of people that have walked through with kidney solutions that have gotten volumes of information, and they can tell you how it went for them and give you some pitfalls and stuff. And we have access to them. We also have access to a ton of donors who've already donated, and they have a wealth of information. None of them offer medical advice. All they offer is experiences. You don't need medical advice. What you need is to steer clear of that. That's what your doctors are for. And
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
that's why you go to the doctor. And even though you may feel like they're not communicating, at least that if you have a mentor, someone who's up to date on what's going on with you, then by golly, you can knock it off of them and see, gee whiz, here's what they're saying. There's a lot of
mm-hmm,
people out there connected with us, and we're happy to help you in any way we can.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you guys have really been a godsend just in so even you communicating with my transplant coordinator, reaching out and saying, hey, I mean, just to, I guess the more people we have on board, the more people that know what's going on, your experience in this, you know, the questions to ask, you know, where things can go and stuff. And you're trying to just help me as I go along in my journey. And that's been a big blessing. So thank you for
Well,
that.
yeah. And you know what? We've got a good bond here. We've got a good friendship, and we're going to continue it on. And that's what we do here. We work with you to hopefully find a donor, and then we're there the day you get your transplant because it's going to happen. But then there we're here afterwards. You know,
Mhm.
we can help you after keep that kidney. All
Oh,
right.
that's not the end of the road. That's just the
Oh
beginning.
no, it's easy. That transplant's easy. It
Yeah.
really is. What's the
Yeah.
difficult thing is getting your chin up and doing what you need to be doing to maintain kidney function. Because it
Exactly.
can
Yeah.
go south a lot faster than it can go north, believe me. And so
Well, that's what I'm learning now, you know, is that you really have to keep tabs on it and you
oh,
have to
yeah,
stay up on patients and you know,
yeah,
be communicating with your doctors and
yeah.
know where you're at. You can't just go on autopilot and
That
assume everything's going to be okay.
that transplant team will be your best friend.
Hmm.
Okay. But we'll be your best friend too to help you when you can't get into them right away. You know, we can encourage you, we can offer you support, but the biggest thing we can do for you is just be here. All right.
Hmm.
We're a
Hmm.
number. We're just a phone number away. And you know, I don't think we've ever missed calls. I get to them as quickly as I possibly can, and I've got other people that I can shift off to that will give the calls back. All right.
Hmm. Hmm.
None of them have any more uh, joy in their heart than to help someone. All right. And
Right.
guide them in the right direction. We're just
Yeah.
guiders. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Been
So
far.
to the straight point, you need a kidney donor,
Yes, I do.
and tell everybody again where you're registered at, where they can call me first or call Kidney Solutions, or there's three areas that people they can call. We have all the information. What are the three hospitals again?
The three hospitals are UCLA in Los Angeles, California. There's also UCSF, the University of San Francisco, here in San Francisco, California. And there's UCSD, which is the University of San Diego. But if I'm, like I said, if I'm going the donor route, I
We're
am
going
going
to
to go.
UCLA.
Yes, the other two options are just the deceased donor route.
Right.
But if I'm going the live donor route, then I will be going through UCLA.
UCLA. And we have all that information. We can step you right through that. If you call us at Kidney Solutions, we can bing, 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 give you all the things you need to do, and we can help you with it and make sure your experience is a good one and a safe one, working right along with the transplant team. So,
Mm-hmm.
listen, I think this has been really a good conversation. Is there anything that you would like to say to the folks out there that are going to listen? They won't maybe listen right now. They might listen 6 months from now or 2 weeks, but who knows? But anything that you want to say?
You know, I would just say, if it's something that you would consider, then to pray about it, and if you feel led to, you know, contact yourself or UCLA, and you know, if it's supposed to be, it'll be, and if somebody in Texas wants to donate, then and they're willing to fly out here to give me a kidney, I would be willing to pay their travel expenses to get that all funded and stuff, and to do whatever I can do to say thank you for being willing to fly out here, but being willing to pay for their accommodations and travel out here to, you know, if they're willing to give me that kidney. So that would be something.
We will make those arrangements. We will
Yeah.
help and assist in those arrangements. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, but I would just say be praying about it. And, you know, that I know somebody is out there. I knew this was all known before I was even born. So I'm not worried about it. I know whatever's supposed to happen
Exactly.
is going to happen. And, you know, just let me know. And again, if you have questions about it or whatever, then to give yourself a call and we'll go from there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Blessings to you, my Gerald. You've really been a great friend.
You have to
This
as well. Yeah.
We will
I
get
tell you,
back together.
after I got done with that appointment at UCLA a couple of weeks ago, and my first thought when I was walking there, I need to call Kent. I don't know how many times I thought this. I need to call Kent. I need to call Kent because there's just so many questions about even with the ways
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
feeling and stuff. Like, is this normal? Is this what's supposed to happen and stuff? So it's all a whole. I mean, I've been an athlete. I've been, training jujitsu and all this stuff, and to just feel so weak in so many things, like that's not a
Oh,
feeling I'm used to. So I want to be able to feel good. I want to be able to have my strength back. I want to be able just to feel and live that full life that I love. So
it's going to come.
it's going to come. I
Marana, it's
believe.
going to come. It's going to come. And you believe that,
I
and
do.
it will. Okay.
Yeah, I do.
All
So
right.
to everybody out there for listening, for
Oh,
considering.
yes, absolutely.
And if I have to meet you rolling into the operating room on a gurney, then
Well, in this,
Nope.
when that gurney hits the door, you're going to know where you're headed. Finally,
exactly. That's a great way to make your acquaintance.
you build patience now.
I do. Yeah.
You build patience. You understand that if you're doing jujitsu, you know how much you need to concentrate and focus. That's what we're going to do. And that's what you're going to do. But let's do it together. All right.
Yeah.
And anybody out there, listen, folks, listen. There's no question that we can't answer. And there's no length we will go to get your questions answered. No problem. And none of this costs you a cent. It's all free. Your calls are free. All the stuff that we're doing with Marana is free at Kidney Solutions. We don't charge any fees. So think about that, and don't be afraid to call. Be afraid not to call, because by not calling, you won't be able to live with yourself. You'll say, gee, I wished I would have done that. I wished I would have got my questions answered, because then I can make a good decision. All right. So with that, I want to tell you, as I always say, I want you to take care of yourself. Make sure you're doing what you need to do. Pray, if you would, for Marana. She needs prayer. She needs a kidney donor too, and that will take care of itself. So until later, keep breathing.